Ever scroll through your feed and just feel like something's off? Like, you're talking to more bots than people?
Yeah.
Well, get ready, because today we're going deep on the dead internet theory.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's a lot weirder than it sounds.
It is a fascinating concept, though. And,
Yeah.
and the thing is, it's not like some crazy conspiracy theory.
Right.
It's a feeling a lot of people seem to share.
Yeah.
This, like, growing unease with the online world.
Yeah, for sure. And we're basing this whole deep dive on a recent Forbes article, The Dead Internet Theory Explained. It was published just this month, January 10th, 2025.
Oh, wow.
So very recent. And I know you've probably seen the memes, heard the jokes.
Yeah.
But we're going deeper here. Like,
Right.
really digging into where it came from, what the evidence is, and like what it all means,
Right.
for us internet users.
Exactly at its core, the theory suggests that a huge chunk of internet traffic,
Hmm.
the stuff we see every day,
Yeah.
isn't coming from real people. It's bots, AI.
Yeah.
Imagine that this vast digital landscape,
Right.
populated by, like, ghosts in the machine.
Okay, let's rewind a bit. Where did this theory even come from?
Well, it seems to have first surfaced on 4chan
Oh, of course.
in the late 2010s,
Okay.
which, let's be honest, is where a lot of strange internet things start.
Yeah, for sure.
But the real, like, foundational text,
Yeah.
what you might call the ur text,
The OG text.
meaning the writing that really defined this whole idea,
Yeah.
showed up on a forum called Agora Roads Macintosh Cafe
Okay.
back in 2021.
2021. That's interesting because AI wasn't nearly as widespread as it is now.
Right.
What made someone think this back then?
Well, the person who wrote that post described this feeling,
Okay.
almost a paranoia that something was wrong with the internet.
Interesting.
They felt like genuine human interaction was being replaced by something artificial, something calculated. And keep in mind, this was before ChatGPT hit the scene, before AI-generated content was everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a little eerie, right?
Like they could see the future of the internet. Yeah.
And the Forbes article we're looking at highlights some pretty strange examples.
Oh, yeah.
Like that viral post on X where people were comparing the sound of the word Kazakh
Yep.
to a diesel engine.
Interesting.
It blew up, but the thing is there was no audio attached.
That's exactly the kind of thing that fuels this theory.
Right.
People saw a post gaining thousands of likes and shares,
Yeah.
despite having no real content. And the immediate thought was bots.
Right, what else could it be? Plus the comments were full of people saying X was overrun with bots, basically calling it a digital ghost town.
Wow.
I can't help but wonder.
Yeah, and it's not just X.
Right, less organic. We can't ignore that.
The article also mentions how AI-generated content is flooding other platforms like Amazon.
Oh, really?
People are seeing product descriptions that sound robotic, getting bombarded with irrelevant replies from what seem like bots.
Ugh.
It all feeds into this feeling that the internet is losing its human touch.
So it's almost like you never know who or what you're really talking to online anymore?
Yes. A little unsettling. But let's get real. Is there any truth to this theory?
Right.
Is the internet really dominated by bots and AI?
That's where it gets complicated. There's no doubt that bots exist.
Right.
They can influence online trends.
Sure.
But this idea that they've completely taken over, that the internet is essentially dead, that's likely an exaggeration.
So we're not in some Matrix situation where
Yeah.
everything we see online is fabricated?
Not quite.
Yeah.
I mean, humans are still the ones creating most of the content that goes viral.
Okay.
Think about it, the funny memes, the clever comments, the interesting observations we share online, those are still largely coming from real people. AI isn't quite that sophisticated yet.
Okay, that's good to hear.
All
But
right.
then why does this theory resonate with so many people?
Right.
Why does it feel like something is off?
Because while the theory may not be literally true,
Okay.
it reflects a very real anxiety about how the internet is changing. Think about how algorithms are shaping what we see, curating our experience in ways that may not always be for the best.
Yeah.
The internet has definitely become more corporate, more homogenous, less diverse. It's not the Wild West it used to be.
Yeah. I remember those days, stumbling across all sorts of strange, interesting stuff online.
Yeah.
It feels more sterile now, you know?
Even Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, isn't happy with how it's evolved.
Oh, wow.
He said publicly that the web is not the web we wanted in every respect.
Wow.
That's a pretty strong statement from the person who made the internet possible.
So it's not just us.
No.
The internet's own creator is feeling disillusioned.
Exactly. And that's what the dead internet theory is really about.
Okay.
The feeling that we're losing something genuine, something authentic in this sea of algorithms and AI-generated content.
Like we're drowning in a sea of digital fluff, and the truly interesting human-created stuff is getting harder and harder to find. What does this mean for us as people who spend so much time online?
It raises a really important question for you. Are you starting to feel this drowning out effect in your own online experience? Are you finding it harder to connect with real people with content that feels authentic?
Yeah, it's a bit like that saying, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes.
Right.
Like, even if the dead internet theory is kind of exaggerated, it taps into this real anxiety about where the internet is headed.
Yeah.
And once that idea takes hold,
Yeah.
it's tough to shake.
Yeah.
You know?
It is a great point. And even if we aren't literally surrounded by bots,
Right.
the internet is becoming more controlled, less organic. We can't ignore that.
It makes you wonder if every generic comment you see, every
yeah.
bland post is just another bot churning away.
Yeah.
It almost makes you paranoid.
And that paranoia is understandable, even if the reality is more nuanced. But the trends the theory highlights are very real
Yeah.
and very concerning. Think about it. A handful of corporations are increasingly controlling the internet. And algorithms are shaping what we see, buy, maybe even think.
It's kind of scary.
AI plays a growing role in all this, and it's hard not to feel a little uneasy.
Yeah, I'm starting to miss the days of dial-up and those old AIM chat rooms. Remember those?
Nostalgia can be powerful, especially when the present feels so uncertain. It's easy to romanticize the past, but the internet has always been evolving.
Right.
Change is unavoidable. The question is, what kind of internet do we want to build going forward?
Okay, so if this dead internet theory is like a metaphor for
Yeah.
this feeling of loss of unease, what can we do about it? Are we doomed to wander this digital wasteland forever?
I wouldn't say we're doomed, but it takes a conscious effort to find authentic connections and content online.
Okay.
We need to be more discerning about the information we consume, more critical of those algorithms shaping our experience.
Right.
And we need to be more intentional about the online communities we join.
So it's about being more active.
Yeah.
More aware online,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just passively taking in whatever's thrown at us.
Exactly. We can't just let algorithms dictate our online lives. We need to be proactive.
Okay.
Seek out diverse perspectives. Support those independent creators who are making cool stuff.
Yeah.
And most importantly, foster genuine human interaction online. It's still out there.
It's like the difference between just watching TV and actually engaging in a conversation.
Right.
One is just a one-way flow of information,
Yeah.
but the other is a dynamic exchange. That's the kind of internet we should all be striving for, right?
Totally.
One where we feel connected, engaged, empowered.
Couldn't agree more. And there's reason to be hopeful. Plenty of people are working to build a better internet. Developers creating decentralized platforms, artists pushing the boundaries of digital creativity, even everyday people choosing to have thoughtful, meaningful conversations online.
It's like those little sparks of resistance you see in dystopian movies, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The human spirit refusing to be stamped out.
Exactly. And those sparks are out there. It's up to all of us to find them, fan those flames, and help create the kind of internet we want to see in the world.
So the dead internet theory might paint a bleak picture,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
It's a wake-up call.
Absolutely. The internet's future is still being written, and we all have a part to play in shaping it. But to do that, we need to understand how we got here.
Yeah.
So before we wrap things up, I think it's worth taking a closer look at how these algorithms work,
Okay.
how they're influencing our online experience.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Because even if most content isn't coming from bots, algorithms are definitely playing a huge role in what we see and how we interact online.
For sure.
And I think a lot of people don't fully understand how those algorithms work.
Right. The basics aren't that complicated. Imagine these algorithms as giant sorting machines.
Okay.
Every time you click like, share, or comment on something, you're feeding information into that machine.
Interesting.
And the machine uses that information to decide what it shows you next.
So if I spend all day watching cat videos,
Yeah.
the algorithm will just keep showing me more cat videos.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
But it goes deeper than that. It also takes into account things like your location, your browsing history, even the time of day.
Oh, wow.
It's constantly trying to predict what will keep you engaged, what will keep you scrolling. And the more data it has, the more accurate those predictions become.
Which is a little scary when you think about it. I mean, this algorithm is basically building a profile of me,
Yeah.
of what I like and dislike, of how I behave online.
And that profile isn't just for your benefit. It's also valuable information for advertisers
Right.
who want to target their messages to the most receptive audience.
Yeah.
That's how those personalized ads you see everywhere work.
Okay.
They're based on the data that the algorithms are collecting about you.
It's like that old saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Right?
We're feeding these algorithms with our data, and they're using it to sell us stuff.
It's a trade-off for sure.
Yeah.
We get access to all this amazing content and services for free.
Right.
But in exchange, we give up some of our privacy.
Right.
And the more time we spend online, the more data we generate, and the more valuable those profiles become.
So even if we're not literally surrounded by bots, our online experience is still being shaped by these powerful algorithms.
That's right.
They're curating what we see, influencing our choices, and maybe even shaping our perception of the world.
That's right. And as AI becomes more sophisticated, those algorithms are only going to get better at predicting our behavior and manipulating our emotions, which is why it's so important to be aware of how these systems work and to develop strategies for resisting their influence.
So where do we go from here? If the dead internet theory is like a warning sign,
Yeah.
how do we avoid this digital dystopia, where algorithms control everything?
Well, the first step is awareness. Like, recognize that these algorithms are designed to keep us hooked, to keep us scrolling and consuming.
Right.
AI is playing a bigger and bigger role in creating content that's engaging,
Okay.
but not necessarily meaningful or true.
Yeah. It's like junk food for our brains. Tasty in the moment, but not exactly nourishing.
That's a great analogy.
Hmm.
And just like we make choices about what we eat, we need to be more mindful about the content we consume online. Seek out sources that align with your values.
Wow.
Engage with creators who are doing authentic work. And don't be afraid to step outside that algorithmic bubble.
Yeah.
There's a whole world of interesting stuff out there if you know where to look.
So it's about being more intentional, more discerning. Not just passively scrolling, but actively shaping our online experience.
Absolutely. And remember, you have more power than you think.
Okay.
Every click, every share is a signal to those algorithms,
Interesting.
telling them what you want to see more of.
Okay.
So be mindful of those signals. Support the kind of content and creators you want to see thrive online.
Right.
It's like voting with your clicks.
We can collectively shape the future of the internet
Yeah,
by being more conscious consumers. That's empowering. But what about the human connection aspect?
right.
Is there anything we can do to combat that sense of isolation the dead internet theory talks about?
Don't underestimate the power of human connection. Seek out online communities that share your interests.
Okay.
Engage in meaningful conversations. And remember that there are real people behind those screens. It's easy to forget that sometimes.
Yeah, it's about finding those pockets of genuine interaction,
Yeah,
those sparks of humanity that make the internet worthwhile.
for sure.
I know I've had some amazing conversations with people I've met online that I'd never have encountered otherwise.
Right.
It's a reminder that even in this vast digital landscape, real connection is still possible.
Exactly. The dead internet theory might paint a bleak picture, but it doesn't have to be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
The future of the internet is still being written,
Okay.
and we all have a role to play in shaping it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to ponder.
Okay.
Has the internet lost its soul? Or is there still hope for a more genuine, more vibrant online experience?
Good question.
The answer, my friend, is up to all of us. Choose wisely, connect authentically, and let's build the internet we want to see in the world.